Hi everyone, I'm John C. Morley, the host of the JMOR Tech Talk Show and Inspirations for Your Life. Hey guys, it's John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. Welcome to the JMOR Tech Talk Show. And yes, as promised, we are on the second Friday of December, and we only have 3 more weeks, and we'll be having our New Year's celebration. Then we'll be saying it's 2023. I can't believe that. We have an amazing, a really amazing show for you guys tonight. A lot has been happening with technology and stuff like that. And there's just so much going on that a lot to share. Everybody ready? What have you guys been working on? Probably a lot, right? I can tell you that technology is evolving and it's changing a lot, but let's get into our master topics on the show, because there are a lot of great topics that we want to share with you. Our first one, ladies and gentlemen, is a real important one, and that is the fact that, PCI 4.0 compliance is now going to become something that's going to be shaping the retail world. And so, when we think about this, there's always the people that are trying to rip each other off and stuff like that. But I think the biggest problem that I have is that not everybody has the correct answers, right? They don't know what's really going on. And so let's talk to you a little about what PCI 4.0 compliance is. So in the prep for PCI, it's going to be going into effect. A lot of organizations are planning for budgetary changes to adopt the new requirement and some of the additional risks that are going to be now part of the new security testing. There'll be a lot of significant changes, and there'll be more staff that'll be needed to maintain this, and of course, more training. But what's really going to happen in 4.0? Well, that's an amazing question. Many of the PCI security standards are about 10 years old, and these new revamps will be changes that haven't been made since 2015. So PCI DSS 4.0 is a very major change. There are basically 6 areas that are going to be affected for credit card data security standards. And they're focused on security, customized implementation, authentication, encryption, monitoring, and critical control testing frequency method, something that has not been done as much in the past. So a little bit more of a bird's eye view on this is that PCI DSS 4.0 changes that'll have to be implemented is that companies will notice there'll be a lot of transitions for the new standards. So flexibility, customized implementation to meet the intent of the new security controls. And so this is going to be something that's going to affect a lot of people. And the new customized validation approach will change the security outcomes linked to each other's requirement. So with PCI DSS 4.0 organizations, they'll be able to choose to perform the control as prescribed or opt for customized implementation. With the customized implementation, companies can comply by showing that the intent of the requirement is met without needing to provide an operational or technical justification. So that's a good thing. And so similar to the compensating controls, the change will allow businesses more flexibility in modifying implementation procedures and meeting requirement intent. And to verify effectiveness, external assessors They must review documentation and test completely the control with custom implementations. So in step 2, we have the security for more stringent requirements. And the goal of the PCI DSS is still to ensure that all sellers safely and securely store, process, and transmit cardholder data. So that's really why this is being done, because there's still fraud out there. And in part 3, authentication, deeper focus on NIST and MFA, multi-factor authentication password guidance. And so we're going to be moving to the forefront of that. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if you're using different portals from authorized.net, and they're going to now require you to use two-factor authentication. That's going to become a requirement. I think that's what we're going to see. The new standard is going to open doors for organizations to build their own unique pluggable authentication standards to meet data security, regulatory requirements. At the same time, it can be scaled to fit the company's transaction objectives. There's encryption. That's broader applicability on trusted networks. The push for more secure standards relating to cardholder data security will now be increased. Cyber threats that include malicious code is one of the biggest problems that financial institutions face. I'm not sure if you know that. And once this code is embedded in the network, information can be retrieved through cardholder data being transmitted. And the new version of PCI will address this issue, which, with best practices and insights, will be able to manage how to fully protect network transmissions. Number 5, monitoring technology advancement requirements. There'll be more risk-based approaches in the new PCI DSS technology, and the technology is growing so fast. The companies are looking at pluggable options for their information systems, much like the PCI software security framework. Critical control testing frequency, possible inclusion of the DESV requirements. This is a higher level of critical control testing, which includes a significant increase in the amount of testing required through what we call the designated entity supplemental validation requirement. And they're nothing new. They were previously mandatory only for companies that had been compromised. So they're just now tightening their belt on a lot of these things. And so the point is, with PCI SSC, since 2015, in the SSL early, TLS encryption protocols were deemed as no longer secure. And that was to the Jones Day at the time, payment card industry data security standard PCI DSS offered important guidance about vulnerabilities within the secure socket layer, SSL, as well as problems with early versions of the transport layer security, TLS protocol. So a lot's going to change for people, and I think people just need to be on the bandwagon and knowing what's going to happen, because we can't be caught in a situation where things won't happen. Okay? And I know this sounds confusing, but just think about it for a minute. Think about what this is going to mean to everybody. What do you think it's going to mean? I mean, hopefully it's going to save people a lot of money. So I know they're probably saying, John, this is a ripoff. And there are a lot of companies out there, believe it or not, that rip you off with their PCI standards, because they really don't do what's needed, right? They don't do what's needed. Why is that? I think they don't get trained properly. There's high staff turnover. Okay. That's really the reason. And PCI, for those of you that don't know, it's the payment card industry. Then DSS is data security standard. So payment card industry data security standard. And you're going to be seeing and hearing that a lot more as we move into 2023. And so the question is, when do I need to be PCI 4.0 compliant? Well, you got some time, right? The compliance deadline is March 31st, 2025. But hey, don't wait until March 30th, 2025 to do this, because this is not something you're going to do overnight, even though, I do own a tech company. People that don't do that are not going to be able to make this kind of implementation change. They're just not going to be able to do it. And so I know, ladies and gentlemen, that this might sound a little bit, how can I say, a little bit crazy, but it's a little nuts. I know that a lot of people are saying to me that it's something that you're saying, well, gee, why is it happening this way? And it's happening, I'll be honest with you, because there's been an awful lot of fraud. I mean, a lot of fraud. And so by implementing this standard, okay, they're hoping that with the payment card industry data security standard, it's going to alleviate. I don't know if you guys know that, when you take credit cards, you shouldn't be storing them on your website. If you're using a gateway like authorized.net, they store them in their secure backend, and then they're responsible for any hacks and things like that. So that kind of mitigates you from the fact. So you never want to store people's credit card information. You want to use like authorized.net SIM. Does everybody know what that is? So authorized.net, they have a SIM. And that's basically the commerce, information manager. And so authorized.net is very secure, okay? But, there always can be leaks. So they call it their customer, really, it's their customer information manager. Even though it's commerce, it's really customer information because it's managing all their information. And when you run a transaction on authorized.net, it does not automatically store that information unless you go in and add it as, an entry in the SIM. But if you have e-commerce software, it can make a call to store it in the SIM, and then people can feel a little more comfortable. So that's about PCI 4.0 compliance. And again, in case you missed it in the beginning, PCI compliance is going to, it's going to change our world. People may not be ready for it, but there's been a lot of fraud. And so again, it's payment card industry data security standard, payment card industry data security standard, payment card industry data security standard. So we'll have to get ready for that. All right, more news. The FTC sues Microsoft. What the heck is going on here with this? I mean, what's really happening here? I know this is absolutely nuts, but nevertheless, it's a problem. It is absolutely a problem. So we'll have to see, what's going on, but it's going to be a problem. So FTC suing to block Microsoft's $69 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Now, it's going to be a problem, but I didn't say for who. It's going to be a problem for, yes, Microsoft. So the administrative team had filed a complaint not too long ago, and the FTC alleges that the blockbuster deal would make Microsoft the third largest video game publisher in the world, which would give Microsoft a pretty big edge. And I quote, both the means and the motive to harm competition, close quote, claiming it could negatively affect prices of video games as well as game quality and player experiences on consoles and game services, according to many agencies. Now, I have to tell you that Amazon's doing the same thing with their iRobot Roomba, right? They're doing the same, they're doing that same crap. And so I think it's going to be interesting, and I want to make another quote. The FTC's complaint uses an internal administrative process that does not involve filing in a federal court. That could give the FTC a theoretical advantage, says Koviak, as an FTC administrative law judge may be inclined to give regulators the benefit of the doubt. But he added the FTC must still marshal convincing evidence and arguments to win the case, which could take years to play out. Close quote. Ooh, that sounds really, really sticky. And, we know that Microsoft has caused challenges. Like, we obviously know that. But my question is, why is it that people are trying to shirk the system? I mean, a $16 million $69 billion, acquisition of Activision. And I don't say that I hate them, but I don't say that I trust them either. And as consumers, as business owners, I think we need to be cognizant, I use that word a lot, about what's going where in our lives and in our world and what could theoretically and potentially affect us in the future. So we will definitely keep you guys abreast of what's going on there. So we'll let you know what's happening, but we'll have to see what's going to go on there. All right. So Mr. Elon Musk, we all know Elon Musk. Well, he turns Twitter into a hotel. What the heck is this all about? Earlier this week, Elon Musk turned Twitter into a hotel. I can't believe this. And I want to quote an ex-worker. And he said, the new Twitter boss, Elon Musk, has been staying at the headquarters since he bought the firm. He last month emailed all Twitter staff saying they will, and I quote Elon this time, need to be extremely hardcore, close quote, to succeed, close quote from James Clayton and Ben DiRiccio from BBC News in San Francisco. So San Francisco's Department of Building Inspection has confirmed, and it is investigating potential violations, filing a complaint. Mr. Musk said the city was attacking companies for providing beds to tired employees. In a now deleted tweet, Mr. Musk posted that he would work and sleep in the office until the organization is fixed. The BBC has also been given pictures of sofas at Twitter being used as beds. That's very, very interesting. And another conference room has an alarm clock and a picture placed over a made-up bed. An alarm clock and a picture placed over a made-up bed. So really looks like a hotel room. And of course, Twitter didn't respond. Last month, Mr. Musk, who completed his Twitter takeover, which was just actually a few months ago, it was actually back around October he took it over. And it was interesting because he's all about exceptional performance, but he's really trying to get to the bottom of everything. So I'd say kudos to him. Hopefully Elon turns the whole company around. I know right now when I post on Twitter, it's like nothing really happens. I don't see any value from it. I don't know where it's going. I don't know what's happening from it. But one thing's for sure, it doesn't just seem to go anywhere. Right? I know, ladies and gentlemen, that this can sound crazy, but I think Elon's trying to save the company. And although I know it sounds a little unethical in the mannerisms in which he's doing it, it's definitely pretty cool what he's doing, and he's really trying to tell basically the people at Twitter that, hey, this is where it's going, and we need to get a handle of this, because if we don't get a handle of it, you know what's going to happen? We're going to have a company that's going to not only be in the red, but could potentially be out of business. So I think we're just going to have to do the best we can and go from there, because this is pretty interesting. And I think Elon is definitely serious. But I still have the big question for all of you guys. And you know I'm going to ask this. Why did Elon buy Twitter? And he says, and I quote, he got involved to help humanity, close quote, and to improve free speech. Free speech is the bedrock of a functioning democracy, and Twitter is the digital town square where matters vital to the future of humanity are debated, close quote, by Mr. Elon Musk. So that's why he did it. But is that reason really truthful, or is that some BS reason? We'll just have to wait and see. So Ericsson and Apple and their legal debate. What the heck is this all about? It was about the patent-rated legal a dispute with the license deal. You guys remember this. So basically, not too long ago, they said that it had struck a global patent license agreement with Apple, ending the row of over royalty payments for the use of the 5G wireless patents in iPhones. This Swedish telecom equipment maker said the multi-year deal included global cross licenses for patented cellular standard essential technologies and granted certain other patent rights. Okay, so it looks like Apple's trying to do the right thing. Well, they'd be foolish if they didn't, because it would kind of put them out. And I want to quote, the settlement ends all outgoing patent-related legal disputes between the parties, close quote. So, and this is according to, Reuters. And so this deal comes after Ericsson in January had filed a second set of patent infringement lawsuits against the U.S. maker of iPhones. So it took almost a whole year, 11 months and about 9 days for this to be resolved. That's just, I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, that's just like pitiful that it took that long for that to happen. I mean, really, really, really took a long, 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 long time. I mean, a very, very long time, right? I don't know. It's crazy to understand what it is they're doing. But I think, ladies and gentlemen, that it's really, I think it's really going to take some time before people actually understand what's going on. And I think they have to understand where people are in their world. And if they understand where they are, then maybe we can actually get something to a different level. And I always say it's not technology or a weapon that's bad. It's how you choose to implement and use that technology. That's really, what it's about. I don't care if it's cell phones, if it's computers, if it's iPhones, if it's portable mobile devices, if it's IoT devices. It doesn't really matter. Okay. It could be something as simple, ladies and gentlemen, as a pen. Okay. Or a USB drive, right? Technology is technology. But when somebody asks a question about what is technology, so for this, I want to go back to a definition which I've used before. And of course, I want to thank Merriam-Webster in their online dictionary. And they say technology is a noun. It's the practical application of knowledge, especially in a particular area. A capability given by the practical application of knowledge, a manner of accomplishing a task, especially using technical processes, methods, or knowledge, and the specialized aspects of a particular field of endeavor. That's a little bit crazy, if you ask me. I mean, really, really, really crazy. Because technology is not just a thing. It's actually the engineering, the innovation to bring something to market and to keep making these kinds of changes in our life. Okay? Think about that for a minute. Think about what that means to you. Think about what that means to the world. Technology, patent infringements. It's going to mean something, but it may not mean something to people today. And I think it's because it hasn't given anybody value as to what's going on. Okay. I know that we always want to rush forward and do something. Like many of you guys know, have known, and I'll be talking about this on our next show, is Windows 11. So I gave my blessing on it last week. I feel very confident with Windows 11. However, it still has some issues with PC gaming, which I think is going to be worked out. But I gotta tell you, I'm fairly confident with what Windows 11 is doing, and I like to say Windows 11 is the operating system that actually installs updates. Windows 10 just kind of pretended to install them. So we'll have to see what's going on there. In other news, Apple, yes, workers plan to strike in Australia. What the heck is this all about? I mean, why? So Apple workers in Australia plan to have a Christmas strike. And this is right now, I mean, terrible. Hundreds of Apple workers in Australia are preparing to go on strike just ahead of Christmas to demand better working conditions and wages. Union leaders and staff said a move likely to hurt the iPhone makers' sales and services in the country. This strike could be a big problem. So, probably a couple day strike, and roughly 4,000 employees in Australia coming as the US tech giant faces disruptions due to worker unrest in its main iPhone plant in China. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, I think a lot of these companies, they're all about the money, right? And I don't have anything against them wanting money. I have nothing against that. But it is a problem, right? I know that things are not made great overseas. Now, nothing to say anything bad about them, but I want to give an example. And I'm not going to mention the company's name. A friend of mine had purchased one of these, safety lights. You plug them in, and when the power goes out, they come on. And they also have other functions like they flash and strobe, etc. So, about 2 weeks ago, my friend actually dropped it to the floor. And when he dropped it to the floor, it fell, it like basically busted open, and the wire broke. So, and they're made with these really cheap batteries. So, I have a cordless soldering iron. I went over there, used some solder. But here was the thing: when we opened this up, the wire gauge, okay, was barely enough to handle 120 AC power. I mean, that's kind of cool, right? I think um I think it's amazing. So the wires were crap. They were really thin. And I would say they're barely able to handle the voltage. But when I looked at it, it was like a piece of junk. There was plastic, one little tiny circuit board, some wires, two little batteries, but they weren't even like neat. I mean, they were made like crap. And so there are two batteries inside. So I basically had to take, uh, there were two wires that fell off. So I had to take one battery and put it in series with the other battery to connect it onto the one battery. And then the other part from the circuit board, twist that together and solder that onto the other battery. So basically, one end was going from one battery. And then I took that end with the one that was coming off the circuit board, tied it so I could make it in series. And voila, we had it. But here's the challenge: the batteries were crap. Okay, I had to scrape off the terrible glue that they put on there. They don't really want you to resolder these batteries. And so after I scraped it off, I was able, after a few tries, to get the solder to stick, and then got on there, and it worked really, really well. Right? I mean, really, really well. I know that it's interesting that we did this. And you see, one way I knew that it wasn't working is that when we went to turn the switch off, it wouldn't power off because the circuit wasn't being complete. As soon as I finished the fix with the soldering, I was able to turn the circuit off, and then we were able to charge. So really cool, what was going on. And I know that it's pretty interesting because they probably made this product really cheap, and they made this. Like I said, for me to have to try to solder this 2 or 3 times, that's not normal. It's because they did cheapy soldering. I mean, that's really the best way, machine cheap soldering. I know that it's pretty cool that this is happening. And I know, ladies and gentlemen, that it's kind of crazy that we import this stuff from other countries and then it doesn't even work so well. I mean, it does not work so well at all. I know, ladies and gentlemen, it's really it's really something. And so, if you could think about a product that you have, and if it's not made properly, what would you do? Well, I think we should stop buying products like that. That's my ultimate thing. And if we buy products like that, then we're sending a message to these other companies. Now, this was made by a publicly traded company. I'm not going to give you their name. It was a safety light, but it was made like crap. The outside was fine, but everything else was made like crap. And I don't mean like, it was just a little thin. I mean, even the placement, the just opening it up, it's like it looked like something that was worth like 99 cents. There was no real design. I mean, they built it as cheaply as they could. I mean, that's probably the best thing that I can tell you. They built it as cheaply as they could. I mean, that's just like so crazy. I mean, so crazy. I don't know. I don't have a lot to say about it, but I'm really disappointed with the way manufacturing is done overseas and then it's brought over here. I think people want to buy something cheap. And this whole device that he bought on Amazon, I think it was $19 or $29. Actually, I'm sorry, he didn't buy it on Amazon. He actually bought it, pardon me, he bought it Bed Bath & Beyond. That's even worse, right? And it gets better. There was a device that he got about, I'm going to say a month ago from one of the local power companies, from his neighbor. And he said, John, I want you to take a look at this. I looked at it. And it's one of these devices where, APC makes them, other company makes them, but it wasn't from them. It was some weird company that was, then they kind of branded with the power company's name. And he got one, it didn't work. Got another one, didn't work. I look, he said, John, take a look at this. And I'm like, this isn't wired right. I said, do you want me to fix it? He says, no. And he plugged things in. The switch didn't turn the things on. It was like one of these master. It didn't work. And I'm like, how do we get this crap to be sold if it doesn't even work? I think the problem with China and a lot of these companies, nothing against them personally, but I just think they don't care about quality. They care about volume. They care about money. And they don't care about a reputation for a company. Because remember, they're making it for a company. They just care that they're putting them out there. There's another story I want to share with you, but I'm going to wait until they resolve the story issue because I'm having a problem with the unit, but I had complained and I want to share the story and hopefully it'll turn out really well. It was about a product that stopped functioning that's out of the warranty, but I'll share that with you a little bit later. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, we need to send a message when things are not the way they should be. And if we don't, then we have no right to complain to anyone else or to complain about it later if we don't take action to do something. That's right. I said we don't take action to do something. That's what I'm saying to you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It has been a privilege, pleasure, and honor to be with you again on another fantastic JMOR Tech Talk show. I am really excited because in January, JCM Academy launches, and I will be offering coaching, motivational sessions both in person, privately, and also in group. In fact, for each session, it's like $49.99. And if you take the month at a time, it's only $25 a session for an hour. So really cool, ladies and gentlemen. I'm looking forward to an amazing 2023. If you're looking to be a guest on JMOR Tech Talk Show, go to jmor.com, apply. Remember, we don't accept everybody. We want people that are going to bring value to the show. This is not a sales show. I cannot emphasize this to you many times enough. It is a sales show. It is a sales show. And so it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what's going to happen. I know, ladies and gentlemen, that people get a little bit, how can I say, crazy because they don't get what they want. And the reason they don't get what they want is for one main reason. It's because they don't understand. They don't understand what's going on. They don't understand why something is happening. And this happens, ladies and gentlemen, for one main reason. They buy cheap. And as a citizen from the United States of America, when you buy cheap, you send a message that it's okay to have inferior production, to have below standards quality assurance, to produce things for the cheapest price, to not be consistent. And if there's some issues once in a while and they replace it, I get it. But if you don't replace things, that is a major, major red flag. Sure, he could go back to Bed Bath & Beyond, but after 30 days, what are they going to do? They usually don't take it back after 30 days, and then you have to send it. So we did get this light fixed for him because he couldn't charge the battery, and he couldn't do a lot of things. But now that I fixed this wire last night, he was really happy. And if it was made properly, the other thing I would have said is that the battery should have been soldered. They should have been connectors, so you could have been able to just like plug the connectors on like almost like a sleeve. You plug them up, but they don't do that. They don't want you to replace the batteries. They want you to suffer. They want you to have something that is going to keep needing to be getting replaced. I think that is, when I tell you terrible, I think that is terrible, and that is a very poor message that we're sending to the world, to the economy. And if we allow this to happen, then again, we can't complain. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. I'm going to be back. But in the meantime, if you want some more of my great content, go to believemeachieve.com and you'll get it over there. All kinds of stuff, science channel, motivational channels, everything's motivation. Jason Academy, business coaching, John the Science Guy, of course, JMOR Tech Talk shows, unboxings, reviews. There's so much more. So I hope you'll check all this great content out, share with your friends, colleagues, and associates. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to see you. You know what? I'm going to see you guys when? Well, if you're coming back for JMOR Tech Talk show, I will see you on the 16th, next Friday, same time, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. If you're coming back earlier, well, you'll see me a lot sooner. Lots of other great content, which I publish every day. Have yourself a great rest of your night and a great weekend. Take care, everyone.